Yokoso to my kimono upcycling channel. In this video, I will be showing you how to make a corset using kimono obi fabric. While there are plenty of corset making tutorials on YouTube, this one is specifically designed for those who want an adjustable size corset suitable size S to LL and are working with kimono obi fabric. Since obi fabric is typically 30 cm wide, my pattern is designed to make full use of that width. Additionally, as obi fabric often features heavy embroidery, it's not ideal for creating lacing holes with eyelets. Instead, I'll be using loops and a single strand of string to tie the bag. The tutorial starts in the later section, so if you want to jump straight to your sewing project, skip ahead to that part. At the end of the video, I'll also share where you can find the corset pattern for free. Before we dive into the tutorial, let me share a little background on this project. I have a long-time customer who has been visiting my market store since I started the business last year. In the beginning, I mainly sold head accessories, bags, glasses cases, and decorated pieces. Then she came up with the idea of turning a kimono into a corset, something I'd never tried before. I watched countless YouTube videos from corset makers and decided to give it a go. As you can see, the result was stunning and my customer absolutely fell in love with it. She ordered one using cherry blossom obi from my collection, and as soon as she received it, she placed another order. Now I'm fulfilling her second order while making this tutorial for you. The obi I'm using for this project features intricate butterfly embroidery. So here's the significance of the butterfly motif in kimono design. Kimono originated in the Heian period, running from 794 to 1185, and butterfly motifs were already a popular design choice by the mid-Heian era. The butterfly's transformation from egg to larva, pupa, and then a butterfly adult has often been compared to a woman's journey through life. Because of this, butterfly patterns became a beloved motif in kimono and obi designs. The image of butterflies soaring high into the sky also symbolized longevity, immortality, and success, making them a favorite among samurai. Even today, butterfly designs are commonly found on furisode, long-sleeved kimonos for young women, and shichigo-san celebration attire, traditional outfits for children's milestone ceremonies. Many believe that parents choose butterfly motifs as a heartfelt wish for their daughter to grow strong and achieve great things in life. So here's the background. Shall we get started? There are two types of fabric we need to prepare: the body panels and the straps, loops, and boning pockets. First, let's prepare the panels. If you're using a fukurobi, a type of formal kimono obi with both front and back fabric layers, you need about 80 cm of the main obi fabric for both the outer and inner panels. I noticed that obi fabric tends to have a wide seam allowance, so I decided to unpick the seams and iron the edges to make the most of the material. The pattern I'm using is designed to fit size S to LL with adjustable shoulder straps and back cord for flexibility. If you find it too small or too large, you can adjust the widths of the center front or back panels accordingly. Before cutting, I recommend taping the paper pattern together, turning it against your body, and checking the fit. Lay out the pattern carefully to make sure the obi's design is showcased beautifully, then mark the cutting lines. We'll do the same for the back panels. When marking, make sure everything is symmetrical so that both the right and left panels match perfectly. Now let's prepare the straps, loops, and boning pockets. You can use different fabric or even pre-made materials to save time, but I personally think using the same fabric gives a more seamless and elegant final look. There's usually about a meter of plain fabric in the middle of an obi without embroidery, so I'm using that section for these parts. For this, we'll need 2 shoulder straps, each measuring 8 cm by 80 to 100 cm, 1 back cord, which should be around 4 cm wide and 150 to 200 cm long. 2 small loops for the shoulder straps, each 4 cm by 10 cm. 8 loops for the back lacing, measuring 3 cm by 9 cm each. And finally, 5 boning channels, 1 center panel that's 3 cm by 25 cm, and 4 side panels, each 2 cm by 25 cm. To save time, I like to cut a long strip of fabric, sew it first, and then cut it into pieces afterwards. Now that we have all the panels, let's start assembling the corset. First, we'll sew the outer and inner panels together using a 1 cm seam allowance. Sometimes the fabric pieces might not match perfectly in lengths. Don't worry too much about that for now. Just make sure they're aligned from the center. Once sewn, press seam allowance open with an iron for a cleaner, more professional finish. Do this for both the outer and inner panels. Next, we move on to the straps and loops. For the back cord, I first sew 3 60 cm pieces together, press the seam open, then quarter fold the fabric with the iron and secure it with clips. The end will remain visible, so we'll fold and stitch the edges neatly. This part is quite time consuming, so I usually get it out of the way early on. The shoulder straps and loops will be made in the same way. Just to note that for the shoulder strap, one end of the straps will be sewn into the corset, but the other end will remain visible, so we'll stitch the edge neatly. Now that we have all the components, we can start assembling the corset. First, we'll attach the boning channels to the front panel. The center boning channels goes in the middle. The side channels should be placed symmetrically. There's no fixed measurement for placement, but try to keep them even on both sides. I find using a placemat with measurement really helpful to get everything nicely aligned. Since we're using 0.8 cm boning, we'll need to make sure the pockets are at least 1 cm wide. Once the boning channels are in place, we'll attach the shoulder straps and loops to the front panel. For the back lacing loops, place 2 cm from the edge and space the rest 2 cm apart. For the shoulder strap loops, place them 2 cm from the side. To ensure they're secure, we'll backstitch a few times. Next, pin the front and back panels together right side facing inwards. If the panels aren't exactly the same length, you can trim any excess fabric at this stage. Just before sewing everything together, we'll insert the boning. The boning should be around 2 to 3 cm shorter than the fabric edge to avoid getting caught in the stitching. Also, make sure to round off the edges of the boning to prevent it from piercing the fabric over time. Now, we sew the front and back panels together, leaving a 10 cm gap so we can turn the corset inside out later. Be careful not to stitch over the shoulder straps. Keep them accessible through the opening. Once sewn, trim any excess fabric at the corners to reduce bulk and press the seam allowances with an iron. Finally, turn the corset inside out and top stitch around the edges for a polished finish. And there you have it, a beautiful one-of-a-kind kimono corset. I also made a clutch bag, tote bags, headbands, bangles, pendants, and a magnetic bookmark with the remaining fabric. Which one is your favorite? To download the free corset pattern, visit the sewist section on my website. Make sure to select A4 paper size when printing. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more upcycling projects. またね!